Today, we are diving deep into the epic of Padmavati. It's one of those timeless sagas of obsession, honor, and sacrifice that has been told and retold for centuries, and for good reason. So let's start with this quote right here. This single, unwavering belief, held by the Sultan Alauddin Khilji, is really the spark that ignites this entire story. Now, think about that for a second. It's not just about wanting things. It's this profound conviction that he's actually entitled to possess anything, or as we'll see, anyone he thinks is beautiful.
Okay, so let's set the stage. Our story begins with two completely different worlds, each with its own ruler, its own code of conduct, and they are absolutely on a catastrophic collision course. On one side, you've got Alauddin Khilji. This is a man whose ambition is just this raging fire, matched only by his ruthlessness. He climbs the ladder of power through a strategic marriage and then, in the end, through brutal betrayal, seizing the throne from the very man who raised him.
And then, on the other side, a world away, you have Mewar. This place is governed by the strict Rajput principles of honor. A code of chivalry, courage, and self-sacrifice. And it's here that King Ratan Singh and the brilliant Queen Padmavati build a kingdom that's rooted in respect and love. And right here, you can see the fundamental opposition between these two worlds. It's like one is built on conquest, on this idea that might makes right, while the other is built on a sacred creed of honor, where rules and principles matter more than anything else. The catalyst for this epic conflict? Well, it comes from a pretty unlikely source, a royal priest who is exiled from Mewar for some dishonorable conduct. So, seeking revenge, he travels all the way to Delhi and whispers this dangerous, poetic idea into the Sultan's mind. The idea of a beauty so profound, it simply must be possessed.
So, Alauddin, now completely and utterly obsessed with possessing the exquisite Padmavati, marches his entire, vast army to the desert fortress of Chittor. He's convinced that his desire alone is justification enough for war.
But this is no simple battle. It becomes this grueling war of wills. Khilji's relentless obsession is like a tidal wave crashing against the impenetrable fortress of Chittor and the even stronger fortress of Rajput honor. And for months, he just can't break through. Since he's unable to win by force, Alauddin realizes he can't break their walls, so he decides he's going to have to exploit their principles instead. He resorts to a game of treachery and pure deceit. He offers peace, but of course, it's a trap. He actually uses the Rajput Code of Honor, which says that a guest is sacred and must be shown hospitality. He uses it against them. He captures Ratan Singh through this cowardly act of betrayal, basically weaponizing their greatest strength and turning it into their most critical vulnerability. This moment of crisis completely transforms Padmavati. With her husband gone and her kingdom on the brink of collapse, she steps up, not just as a queen, but as a brilliant military and political leader, totally ready to meet his deceit with her own strategy. And this is just brilliant. It perfectly illustrates her genius. She uses Alauddin's own arrogance and his obsession against him. See, he thinks she's surrendering, but what she's actually doing is orchestrating this audacious Trojan horse-style rescue that nobody, least of all the Sultan, sees coming. Well, as you can imagine, the daring rescue of the king absolutely enrages Alauddin. The games are over. And it all leads to the inevitable final showdown between the two rulers, right there on the battlefield. In the middle of all the chaos of the battle, Ratan Singh seeks out Alauddin directly. He challenges him to a duel, ruler to ruler. And this isn't just a fight, it's the final contest between their two opposing ideologies, honor versus brute force. So, Ratan Singh, who's the superior warrior, starts to win the honorable duel. But, true to form, the Khilji forces have absolutely no regard for rules. Alauddin's general jumps in, shooting the king from behind and winning the battle through the ultimate act of dishonor. So, Alauddin has won the battle, but the war for Chittor's soul and for Padmavati is not over. He marches to the fort to finally claim his prize. And this brings us to the ultimate question. With the army defeated, the king dead, and the enemy literally at the gates, what options are even left for the women inside the fortress? Is it surrender and enslavement, or is it something else entirely? They choose an act of ultimate defiance.
Led by Queen Padmavati, the women of Chittor light a massive pyre and commit Johar, choosing death over a life of dishonor under the rule of their conqueror. Alauddin's military victory is rendered completely hollow. He storms the castle, all ready to claim his obsession, only to be met with billowing smoke and ashes. The very thing that drove him to wage this entire devastating war is now forever beyond his grasp. And that leaves us with this final, lingering question. By getting his military goal, but failing in his ultimate desire, and by having his prize choose obliteration over him, who was the true victor in this epic conflict? He won the battle,